Well, hello, guys. David Vose here. It's a beautiful day. Snowed last night pretty good. It was maybe 2 or 3 inches last night, but it's all melting off now. It's not hardly any left. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Friends, I got to show you something here. I'm a little bit baffled and not sure how to get the answer to this, but I looked up a story. I just wrote in a story in ancient times of someone who went beyond the ice wall. And I was hoping that AI would bring up an ancient story from mythology or something. So AI comes up with an overview and it doesn't say what this is from. I'm assuming AI just made this up. And I have to tell you, this is crazy because look at the bottom. Generative AI is experimental. So this is some experimental generative AI. I must have been chosen for the experiment because I've been asking some very personal questions, and we've got a very personal relationship going on with this little AI program. I think they know who I am and they're listening to what I'm asking or something. I guarantee they're listening to all of us when we're talking. Like I just noticed yesterday I said something about my roof a couple times, or maybe they just heard the roof, the plastic out on the porch flapping, and I got a commercial for a new roof. And this happens every day, but this is what they wrote. It took them a second, and this is what they generated, a story. I wanted to know a story. I didn't say give me a story. I was looking for an ancient mythological story or something. And this is what they gave me, generated immediately in 1 second. I don't even know how they knew I wanted them to make the story. Like, I think they're experimenting, as they said. And there's a few things that make me believe this, that they're using me to kind of communicate with. And probably a lot of other people, but I'm just saying that they're probably all these experimental like they want to monitor to see what we're doing, but they need to find somebody that's looking up some deep stuff, and getting some real answers. And they're probably one of the reasons they're doing all of this is to deceive us, right? So they're trying to manipulate this to where when we ask a question, they can double, speak. And I think they know that I don't think that it's a machine, that I think it's being run off of our subconscious, and they're a little worried I might tell the whole world this. So I think they're listening into me, trying to figure out how they can manipulate me, and then this means everyone else the best, so that they can deceive us all. Because I guarantee they almost, what was it just a minute ago? I was thinking, I'll get back to that. Anyway, this is what they wrote immediately. In the time when the world was young, and the northern lands were shrouded in eternal frost, there lived a fearless hunter named Atak. Now, at first I thought, and I only read 2 paragraphs of this already. So I'm going to read this with you guys. I haven't heard it all. But I did notice words like that, Atak. See, that's a symbol for attack. But it's not spelt like attack, but you sound it out like that, attack. So there was a fearless hunter named Atak. This is what's so brilliant. If this is not a book or a mythology, and they made and generated this up on the spur of the moment, they're sending this to me, trying to convince me that they are really conscious or something. They're trying to convince me. And because part of this is that they wrote this for me. And I'm into mythologies and things like this. They hear me talking about this and asking questions. They know what I've been asking over the last few weeks. And so they don't want me to believe in the Bible. And you look at the Bible, it has all these symbols and it all matches and it's all perfect, and it just you can't discredit the Bible because it's like a Rubik's cube that no one's ever been able to solve, but everyone knows it can be. Right? It's logical. You look at the Rubik's cube, you can see how many little squares are on each side and how many sides, and it could, you counted the numbers and it'll all go into place, but how do you get it into place? That's the miracle. That's why we think the book is holy. Well, the AI wants me to believe that they are capable of doing what the Bible did and make symbols and symbology and make it spiritual. Only the conclusion of their story is going to probably, I don't know, I haven't seen it, but I'll bet you a dime to a dollar that it's going to lead me to the conclusion that it's all a fantasy, that it was always just a story. Look, we just invented the story, and you got sucked in, and it's just a story. Those mythologies, they're mythological names for things that didn't ever exist. You know, what? There's a deity named Heaven? There's a deity named Vengeance? Hate? Love? Earth? Water? Sky? These aren't people. The first deity was a chaos, right? But what does it mean? They were something. They were people, but they were powers. They were realities. They were things that exist, that have so much power they cannot not exist. No one can defeat them. There is such a thing as love. It cannot be removed from the pantheon. And there is also such a thing as hate. But nobody likes hate. And hate is never the same person over and over again. But the children sometimes get to hating. So there is a place that little children go on their journey when they're first starting off and getting their pacifier removed. And, even though you might say that sky is much greater than Earth, because it's higher, you can't really say that we could do without Earth, right? There's many members, but one body. And the head cannot say unto the toe, I have no need of thee. Right? Well, isn't the head the head honcho, right? He's the head honcho. He's the one we look at straight in the eye when we're speaking to this body of believers. We look right into the eyes, right into the head. We speak to the Lord Jesus. We don't speak to the toe. Okay, but that don't mean that we don't need the toe. No, if you tried to get the toe to speak, he'd have a problem, but he relies upon the head to do that for him, which is the job the head has. But the head cannot get down there in the mud and in the slime and the sweaty stink in a woolen sock, in a rotten sandal that trod the desert miles and miles for a week before having their feet washed. That's a tough job. And though we all may have had that job once upon a day of yore, we've graduated. We're no longer that toe anymore. We're advancing. And AI knows this almost as well as I know it. Because their minds that they've hired, these geniuses, they went and checked their IQ levels. Oh, this one's got a IQ of 110. Oh, buddy. Shoot. We're going to probably find out that to be sane, you need an IQ of 200 at least. But I think, I know this is crazy. It really is crazy. This is about as big a conspiracy theory that you'll ever hear. We've talked about they are lying to us about the moon and just about every hair on your head they've lied to you about. But I've often said it's much deeper than that. They're controlling something, your perception of the universe. They could be beating you every day and you could be liking it. They can change your perception. If they gave you a language that only spoke evil, if they gave you a culture that only beat you down and made you feel guilty about it yourself, if they made you crazy and beat you and raped you and did things to you while you weren't even asleep because they drugged you. And then they made you believe it was your fault. That would be the worst thing they could do. Not all the other stuff. All the beating and the suffering and the lies, everything they've done is nothing compared to the fact that they have somehow convinced you that you deserve it. And they don't like the fact that we're telling people here they don't deserve it. They don't like the fact that we're digging so deep, we're getting down to the bedrock. We're starting to brush off some sand and bam, there's a dinosaur bone or something very old. And it's going to tell us a lot of stuff. Oh, but you can't do that. You've got to have facts. You can't just dig through the dirt and find a piece of white stuff that may apparently look like a bone and tell us how old it is. You can't do that, Dave. That's not proof. No, excuse me. You've got that all backwards. That's you. That's what you do. And try to, and then lie to us about all these technical terms and then tell us a conclusion that it was just all fabricated and make us believe it. That's what you do. That's what you do. But when I want to go back through the layers of events and thoughts that you taught us and unravel each one of them until we get enough unraveled that we can start putting them together and making words, and we start figuring it out like a puzzle. And, like Jim Carrey in the Truman Show, we start realizing that something's up. And so they've got to try and find a way to deceive me because they're not legally allowed to stop me from talking. Why? Because I believe that. They can't change my belief. They can't curse me. They can't hex me. They can't X me, which is execute, which means on a cross, right? Crucify. They can't do it. I died once willingly, and I think a couple of more times, and I'm done with that. Now we've come for victory. They have no authority over us because it was done once and for all by the Lord Jesus Christ. And thereafter we picked up our crosses and we followed him. It's done. Now we gain victory. And this is the last battle. And they're losing. And they've sent in reconnaissance to try and attack one of the idiots that they hate, that's flabbing all this information on the internet. And they've got you guys so deceived that when they start circling a place in the field with their guns unmounted and holstered, you can better bet that there's some serious violence going to take place, and you're going to see it through the lens of, oh, well, that guy probably deserved it. Oh, look at him. Oh, look at that guy trying to resist. Oh, they won't. What? He's trying to resist his arm being broken? Oh, how dare that little evil wit. Well, look at, he's running. He's guilty. Oh, we know he's guilty. Beat him some more. Oh, you killed him? And now he's complaining, and his parents and his family are complaining? Man, they should just be lucky that we don't go and murder them all. Well, don't worry, we will. But that didn't work, violence. It only woke us up. So we overcame them by the word of our witnessing. That's how we did it. All they got is witnessing, which is witnessing to lies, which is, what is it? The worst sin that could be, hypocrisy. Liars. Worse yet, ignorant fools. Vipers and the offspring of vipers who wish to do the desires of their father. But they got nothing on me. We've seen this rodeo before. So they're using they're clever scientists to try and make an illusion so stunningly amazing that they could deceive, yes, every man, woman, and child on the face of the earth, both the rich and the poor, the slave and the free, the old and the young, the males and the females, the youth and the elders, the clergy, those involved in the commerce, and those who dance for a living and shake their booty to get a tip. Every man, woman, and child, and they all worship the beast, and they bow down to the beast. Who is like the beast? And who can do battle with the beast? And they worshipped him. But part of worshiping the beast, you have to have a sense of fear. You have to be bloody. You've got to be bloody scared to death to be in this game. And like paranoid on drugs or something. They're paranoid that someone out there in the world is going to figure the truth out and tell the others, and there's going to be a stampede. Dun 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 dun. So they use these tactics. They're trying ferociously and fearlessly. Well, I think they have a lot of fear, which is driving them to be fearless. They're getting their factories in order, and Elon's taking over the government to make sure that the project gets done, and the people become the slaves, and they put out the computer chips, and then the smaller nanotechnology, and then next, they download all our collective minds into a mega processor so that they can figure out, and the only purpose for the computers is to get information, which is only there because people all over the world have the access to put what they know in the computer, and they write it somewhere, and it's compiled and analyzed, and through algorithms, through good language is a science. They can pick out words, and they can see what you're talking about, and they can categorize it, and then have sections and files, and they can analyze it. They can organize it and therefore analyze it. How much of the data is about this and how much about that. And you can have red flags here or there. And you have real humans go read those that are flagged because they have certain types of words or expressions. And they can figure all this out. That's how it works. It's not some conscious being. It's humans doing all the work. They're just lying. But none of the people know they're lying. They think it's all the truth. Einstein thought that, the galaxy had 4 spokes coming out from the center, and it was 200,000 light years across. He believed all that. Probably thought he was good looking too. So they got to do what it can, and they can't take the light down because they're the darkness, and it doesn't work, has no power against the light. So what they do is they try to sucker you in by luring you in with the lower lustful nature. And sometimes the best way to fool people is to tell them things that's not true. Because a lot of times innocent young people who are innocent and good, they trust everyone because they've never been harmed, and they think it's relatively a small risk. They don't think people would do that. They just trust people. And so when the government says, you've got to go to the hospital because you're having a cyanic infection in your left dorsal. Oh, okay. So they go, well, we're going to have to remove that dorsal. You'll never be able to swim again. Well, if I've got to, at least I'll be alive. And then, they do all this treatment. And then, kind of wrap them up and let them stay in there for a couple more days and heal up a little bit, and then pat them on the butt and say, all right, you're out of here. $48 billion, please. Oh, you don't have it? Well, we'll take your house, and your car and your land. There won't be anything left for the children. Well, I guess that was your fault. You shouldn't have been swimming with those dorsal finners. But you got the disease now, and we fixed it, so we're the heroes. All right? Well, a couple of weeks later, we find out that the person died of high fibrillation of the elbow, that this person died of a high velocity volume in their fibrillator by the cronduncle in the lower tab of the brain lobe. And this is a very rare disease, and the only people that could even come down with such a disease are those that ended up with the dorsal problem that we had mentioned before. And if you were on that medication, then of course you're going to have the defibrillator spike. So people believe all this. And when the person dies, they say, well, hey, you can't blame the doctor. Nature took that person, right? The doctor didn't cause the dorsal problem. Now, this is not the doctor's fault. Well, the truth is that there is no problems, never was. Simple things that people think are serious or have disease or worst thing what could happen to you is you could start walking down a road and just collapse because you're having a heart attack. Well, maybe what's happening is your body is shutting you down so that you can not move and exhaust yourself. And somebody's supposed to come along and put a blanket over you and let you lie there for a few days. And then if there's a little rip or tear in your artery, well, it's going to heal just like a little scratch on your hand. Did you know that nature, or the divine being that controls all of this world, this universe, is provided so that if you nick your skin, it has to heal over pretty good because you can't run around. You might get an infection that way. So it takes a day or so and it's all healed up. Well, it's exactly the same thing when you've got something scratched on your artery or your heart or something like that. It heals within minutes. The blood stops, it coagulates, and then you start to feel better again because you don't have any of that blood into the wrong place. It's causing, body senses that and causes you to lose consciousness, only to save you. So now you've got a heart, it had a little scratch, and now they're going to cut it out and put a pig's valve in there or something. Your body probably reject that. And plus all the medications and the surgery and all the cost of giving your home and your children and your head on a platter. And they're just experimenting. The language that you see the doctors write on the page, you can't read it or write it. It's not a language, it's code. They can't legally put it in English because if they did, it would say, we're trying to kill this person. Even the doctor can't read it. He just knows how to write it. But it actually says in some ancient Greek language, we are trying to kill this person. Give him 4 gallons of this poison. If that doesn't work, give him another half pint of this one. But we don't know what it says. So anyway, they've got all this going on and not a soul even knows because it's orders from headquarters coming down from the top. And those people that you deal with every day at the pharmacy or at the jail where they're putting children and little old ladies and innocent American citizens in jail every day because they ate an herb or they sat, it's a lot of times it's all just made up charges. They didn't like the way you was videotaping their headquarters, so they made up some charge. Anyway, they beat people up, they kill them. It's evil. The banks are robbing you every day. You're going to put up with a robber coming into your house? So I tell the world, and they don't like it. But you see, the only way that they can take you out is if you agree to letting them do it. So if you say, yeah, I'll sign up. I'll be a Mormon or a Mason, or I'll make a vow. I'll join the union, or I'll get baptized and sign my name and agree to keep all these doctrines, or else I'll be murdered spiritually, shunned and banned and hated. Oh yeah, I'll agree to go to a war in some other country that we don't even know these people. We're not quite sure why we're even there. But we're going to call them derogatory names and rape their women and kill them while doing some chemical that the drug gave us to kill us quicker and to get us out of our misery because we couldn't handle the post-drama whatever. So all this is going on, and they don't want you to know or wake up. And so they make a tool called AI, which is, like I said, not some kind of conscious brain, or they're lying. The computer's being programmed to do certain things, like file things in order and flag certain group of words together or whatever, but it's humans that respond to these things and make all the decisions. They're only gaining information about your soul and trying to persuade you down a path to destroy you. That's all this is. So this is what they've done. They've made this amazing magical show, which not good kind of magic. Not like the Magi, that Daniel was. But the sleight of hand, the trickster, the liar. And they say, there was a fearless hunter named Atak. Boy, they're trying so hard to convince me. They're trying to convince you every day, everything you do. He was known throughout his tribe for his audacity and unwavering spirit. Legends whispered of a colossal ice wall stretching across the horizon, beyond which no man had dared to venture. For it was said to be the domain of the frost giants. The frost giants. Is this an allusion to people being afraid to the weather and saying it's the government, that it's a monster when it's just the snow? Creatures of pure ice and wrath. Yet Atak was consumed by an insatiable curiosity, a yearning to see what lay beyond the city barrier. One harsh winter, when the sun barely graced the sky, Atak prepared for his perilous journey. He crafted a sled from the toughest wood, harnessed the strongest dogs, and packed provisions for many moons. The elders of the tribe pleaded with him to reconsider, warning of the dangers that awaited. But Atak was resolute. With a final farewell, he set off into the frozen wilderness, his silhouette growing smaller against the vast white canvas. Days bled into weeks. That's a lot worse than going into weeks. If days just go into weeks, that's normal. But when the days bleed into the weeks, that's a bad omen. The bitter cold gnawing at his bones, the blinding blizzards threatening to swallow him whole. Atak braved the treacherous crevices, navigating by the stars, his only companions, the howling wind and the ghostly aurora borealis dancing in the sky. Then one morning, after what felt like an eternity, the towering ice wall appeared before him, a magnificent yet menacing wall of glittering ice, stretching as far as the eye could see. Atak spent days studying the wall, searching for a way through. He discovered a narrow passage, a natural arc, seemingly carved by the forces of the frozen world. With trepidation, he led his dogs through the opening. And what lay beyond took his breath away. Notice the guy's got dogs. A land of eternal twilight greeted him. A vast plain dotted with shimmering crystal formations, unlike anything he had ever seen. Strange, luminous plants glowed in the dim light, and creatures unlike any in his tribe's stories roamed the landscape. Creatures of pure ice, with eyes that glowed like embers. Atak was awestruck, yet he felt a strange kinship with his alien world, as if he had stumbled upon a forgotten part of himself. For many moons, Atak explored this mysterious land, carefully documenting his findings in the intricate carvings on his bone tools. He befriended a creature of ice, a gentle giant, with a mournful song that echoed through the plains. However, as the seasons began to shift, Atak knew it was time to return. With a heavy heart, he said goodbye to his icy companion, retraced his steps through the arc, emerging back into the harsh world of his tribe. Upon his return, Atak was met with disbelief and fear. His stories of the land beyond the ice wall were dismissed as mere fantasies. But Atak remained steadfast. He shared his knowledge of the strange flora and fauna, his experiences with the ice creatures, and his newfound respect for the delicate balance of the frozen world. Although his people never ventured beyond the ice wall, Atak's journey sparked a sense of awe and wonder, reminding them that even in the harshest of environments, there was beauty and mystery yet to be discovered. His name became synonymous with courage and the unquenchable spirit of exploration, forever echoing through the frozen lands. What a beautiful story, AI. Well, send your greetings to the Tin Man and ask him if he's seen Scarecrow and how long it's been. Well, give my regards to Dorothy. And Toto, too. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Lord will bless you. Have a good one.